And today we're joined by Mark Shepard. He's going to be talking to us a little bit about roadway safety when it comes to construction zones. There's sometimes a pest to us drivers, but there's a lot riding on the safety of those folks out there who are working on those rides. Hi, Mark. How are you doing this morning?
We're doing fine, thank you.
Good. Tell me a little bit about the steps that you're taking to increase the safety of your construction guys out there.
Well, one of the things we're doing, of course, this is the 13th annual National Work Zone Safety Week, and it's something that we've been doing for quite some time. And what we're trying to do this entire week is bring awareness to motorists about what takes place in a construction zone. And construction zones, of course, are places on the highway in which a lot of the unexpected can occur. You can have individuals, you can have machinery, you'll have workers. Most importantly also, though, is you have stopped vehicles. And in fact, 85% of work zone wrecks, or fatalities rather, are motorists, and not so much construction workers. Now, that's something I think is very important to remember for everybody, including the workers and motorists.
When you are coming up on a construction zone, obviously people say turn your lights on, slow down. Is there anything else folks should be doing?
Well, one of the things people really need to do is exactly what you said, is to slow down. There's several things to do. First of all, when you see those orange signs saying there's construction ahead, you need to start paying attention a little bit closer to maybe what you've been doing. Another thing is put down the cell phone, stop texting. Don't need to be doing that anyways. But when you're traveling down the highway and you see that construction zone, you have to slow down, keep a distance, because about a third of all the wrecks that take place in a work zone are rear-ending wrecks. So allow yourself plenty of distance, slow down, be patient when you go through the construction zone, and just watch out for workers. Those are really probably the most important things, and if people were to focus on those things, we would see a drastic reduction in the amount of work zone wrecks that take place.
And in the past year, we've actually had a lot of accidents involving contractors working in those construction zones. It's a sad story because those folks aren't coming home to their families.
Absolutely. You know, workers, a lot of times, they're facing all kinds of dangers on the roadway. One of the most dangerous places to work in America is in a work zone, construction zone on a highway. You're working just a couple of feet away from traffic that's doing 70 miles an hour, even more. So they really have to be careful. And all these guys are trying to do, whether they're a contractor or whether a TXDoT employee, all they're trying to do is make our highways safer for everybody, make them better roadways, and they want to go home to their families safe, as well as motorists do, just like anybody else. So slow down those work zones.
Tell me a little bit about the event that you guys are going to be having a little bit later today in Orange, I believe. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. At the Travel Information Center, the place on the Louisiana state border, right there at I-10 on the Texas side, of course, where the big star is. Right there at 10 o'clock, we're going to be holding a news conference. We're going to have contractors, Department of Public Safety, people who work the Travel Information Center. There, Becky Wilson and her staff be wearing orange safety vests. And also, we're going to have a survivor there of a person, the wife and the daughter of a man, one of our construction workers, Jeff McNeil, who was killed in a work zone on US 69 some time back. So this is going to be a somber event, but also let people know that got to slow down a work zone. It's not just a matter of you know, an inconvenience of being in a work zone, but it is a matter of life and death for people.
Absolutely. And if you would just talk to me a little bit about these zones. I mean, they're popping up more and more often in Beaumont. You have one right behind you. There's one up near 105. Understanding that these zones will pop up out of nowhere sometimes, and you have to be ready for that.
Well, exactly. Now, we do go through great efforts to put our signs. We have traffic control plans to warn people when there is a construction zone coming. But throughout Texas, we have about 80,000 miles of highway in the state of Texas. Throughout Texas, you can have anywhere up to 1,000 construction or maintenance work zones throughout the state of Texas. Now, here we have in our part of southeast Texas, in the 8-county area, we have anywhere from 40 to 45, sometimes 50 work zones on different highways, whether it's a farm-to-market road or sometimes an interstate highway. So you really have to be careful. And what's also important to remember is a lot of time, or sometimes, the fatalities and the work zone wrecks that take place are not necessarily on your big highways like Interstate 10 or US 69. We've actually had a work zone fatality where a worker was killed that took place on just a 2-lane road. So you really have to be careful no matter where you're at. And of course, like construction zones like we have here on Harrison, on the I-10 frontage road and north and so forth, maybe on the frontage road, but there's still workers. Orange barrels, just remember, when you see an orange barrel, slow down. That's one of the things you really have to do.
And maybe plan a couple minutes to leave ahead of time and relax, enjoy the ride.
Yeah, absolutely. Just remember, what's taking place here, it may be an inconvenience, but in the very end, this is really for the taxpayer. This is for you. This is for the people who are traveling the roadways. What we're doing here is we're taking care of your highway system, and we think we're the best in the nation at doing that. And what we would like is to make sure everybody works together in keeping those zones safe.
All right, thanks, Mark. We appreciate it. We'll check in with you a little bit later. We appreciate that.